In this Monster Showdown Week 9, Packers-Chiefs on Fox. We were oh so close to getting Rodgers v. Mahomes in the Super Bowl last season. Now hopefully we get it in the regular season. But Brandon, the under-the-radar quarterback matchup most intriguing to you is blank.
Woo. Week 6, you have Kyler Murray and you have Baker Mayfield. These quarterbacks, like Nick just said, as far as for the Cleveland Browns, have everything they need. Kyler Murray has everything he needs going into his 3rd year. This is when you see guys take a huge step forward or potentially a huge step back. So I want to see who this kid is and what he worked on this offseason and how he's going to lead the Arizona Cardinals. Because, like I said, man, there's no excuse. They have everything. Coaches, players, facilities, they have everything they need. And then on the other side, the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield. We're going to see exactly who he is. If he's a superstar in this league, like Nick thinks he is, then he'll go out there and he'll ball out. This point of the season, we're going to know exactly who Baker is. His rookie year, did pretty good. 2nd year, sophomore slump. 3rd year, came out, balled out, protected the football. Is he going to be that guy? And then some. We will see week 6 in this matchup.
I'm going to week 11, and there's some projection here. And the projection is, at this point, Trey Lance is the starter. Lance versus Lawrence. Trey versus Trevor. And the Niners taking on the Jags. Obviously, the Niners are a far better team than the Jags, but I think these are going to end up being the 2 best quarterbacks from this draft class. And I think at this point in the season, that Niners will have handed the reins over to Trey, and I'm really excited to see that football game. I also think the Jags have a sneaky chance of being alive for the playoffs deep into the season. I'm that high on Trevor Lawrence. I obviously don't like the Tebow stuff, but I like Urban and I love Trevor. So for all those reasons, Trevor versus Trey on Week 11 on Fox is, to me, the most intriguing quarterback matchup potentially.
Oh, I'm going with the Brandon Bowl. Week 12, Russ versus Fitzmagic. Someone's getting their feelings hurt. And Brandon, we are not going to let you off the hook. You're going to be on the show and be like, well, I don't know. Maybe it could be a tie, guys. I hope they both play well, and we're not going to let you get away. And eventually, we're going to push and push and push. And then you're eventually going to come out like, you know what? Fitzmagic doesn't have it. And next thing you know, Fitzmagic is out of the friend zone. Oh, who comes swooping in? Here comes Kevin Wild sweeping into Fitzmagic's friendship spot with a House of Athlete membership, and I'm headed on NASCAR. It's me and Fred Taylor hanging out on the couch. All good.
Unbelievable.
Fitzmagic out, Wild's in.
I love Russ, but Fitz wins this one.
But Fitzy's your guy.
Wow.
Weird Wonderful from Kevin Wilds from the national pastime. Garrett Cole, downright filthy yesterday. Struck out 12 Rays over 8 innings of work. Cole, oh yeah. All right, time now for But First. Kevin Wilds, you love Blake Griffin last night.
Blake keeps on dunking, and I know you're saying, like, all right, well, Wilds, he's the dunk champion. Like, I know, but then he went, a millennia without dunking in Detroit, and now all of a sudden he's dunking all the time. But that's not the highlight. The highlight are the sneakers that he's wearing. Now, most of the time, sneaker design, inspired by this, inspired by that, is a lot like juggling chainsaws. It's just hard to impress me anymore. But this one, Blake Griffin, with the super bad McLovin Jordan 35s. Well done, my friend. Excellent work. You cut through the sneaker inspiration clutter and did an excellent job. Keep on dunking. Nets win. Harden's great at basketball.
For our younger audience,
Seven takes
Superbad's
one.
a movie that came out in the 2000s. Believe it or not, it's 15 years ago. But Blake, it's a brilliant sneaker. It's a brilliant sneaker.
Well, drawing a blank. NFL schedule. Check out some of these big-time matchups you can catch on the Fox airwaves this season. Bucks, Rams, Packers, Chiefs. I'm just going to name them. Cowboys, Chiefs, Browns, Packers. All right, Brandon, the matchup you're most intrigued by this season is blank.
Let's go to week 5, Bills versus the Chiefs. The reason why this is a big one for me, because I want to see exactly where the Bills are at. Last year the Bills took a huge jump. Josh Allen played phenomenal. But what happened? that defense in that title game was exposed. And for them to actually be a contender and compete in the AFC, they have to go through the Kansas City Chiefs. But that defense has to be smart. If you turn on that film and you watch that game, what you're going to see is guys is dropping back in simple coverage. Cover 3, cover 2, making the right decisions. They're not getting pressure on Mahomes, but these guys aren't playing smart. Number 2, the slot receiver goes to the flat, and then you'll see the wheel linebacker just sit there and not turn his eyes to one to see if he's coming in and where the potential threat's at. And that's why you saw Mahomes just dink and dunk and expose them. If the Bills want to be Super Bowl champions, they have to go through the Chiefs, but they have to play better defense. They have to play smart defense. So week 6, Bills at the Chiefs.
Brandon's absolutely right. And if they do play better defense and smarter defense, maybe instead of a 38-6 run, the Chiefs will only go on a 28-6 run, and they could keep it somewhat respectable, because that was an embarrassment for them last year in the AFC title game. I am going to go with a Week 1 game that I believe will also be a Week 21 game. Browns at Chiefs to start the season. Browns at Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I think this is, I heard Colin yesterday come out and say this is a brutal open for the Browns. I totally disagree with that. I think this is actually the best possible opening opponent for the Browns, because they get to see how far away or how close they are to being the class of the conference. Players 2 through 53, the Browns have as good of a team as anyone in the AFC. The question is, how close can Baker get to Mahomes' production level, and is the gap going to be too big to offset what I think is, for the Browns overall, an equal, if not better roster 2 through 53 than Kansas City. So I think that it is going to be an AFC Championship game preview. We saw it in the playoffs last year, Wilds, but not really, because Mahomes got hurt. And so we didn't get to see the full version of that game. But Browns at Chiefs, to me, is the most intriguing game, and we start the season with it.
You know what I like? I like games with a little bit of juice, with a little bit of animosity to them. Stafford v. Goff, Week 7. And guess who I'm rooting for? Oh, the Fighting Kneecaps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Go after your old quarterback, Matthew Stafford. I think Goff, I'm rooting for Goff in a major way, Jen. I feel like he's gotten a bad deal. I'd love to see him go back and have revenge on Sean McVay. And also, since the Patriots don't play the Rams, Matthew Stafford, you don't want to come to New England? Fine. Why don't you have your old team beat you? Why don't you have Jared Goff beat you?
That's what it's all about.
So that's the only way I can get back at Stafford.